Hello everyone, hope you're doing good, and thank you again, Cam, for the opportunity. I'll check the comments to see if anyone of you wrote a question before. Meanwhile, while we go over the session, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. I'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, for today, for those who already know, last week we did a crypto analysis. For this week, we'll do Forex and so on. So next week will be crypto analysis. Let me share my screen real quick and to get started. Okay. I believe now you can see my screen. Let me know in the comments if you can see it well, because I share a separate window. Hello, I'm doing fantastic. Hope you are doing good too. If you have any questions about trading in general or about Forex specifically or about a specific instrument that you want me to go over, of course, it's better if it is a Forex pair or an index. Okay. So let's get started. As usual, we always start with a DXY to get an overall feeling about the market. Okay, when it comes to Forex, I keep an eye on DXY. When it comes to crypto, if you remember last week, for those who joined, I keep an eye on total, which is total market cap. Okay, so we can clearly see that we've got a wild week already. Yesterday we had USD news afternoon. We had crude oil inventories at night, or like it depends where you live. So like later yesterday we had FOMC news, and like the wild week isn't done yet. Tomorrow it would be the first Friday of this month, so we would have non-farm payroll NFP news like around Friday afternoon my time. It depends where you live. So conservative mode is still on, and anyway we'll go over like the highest probability setups that I'm looking for. Of course, like it might not get activated today or tomorrow, maybe Monday, but you know what I'm currently looking for. This is like my high probability setups. If you have like a specific like pair that you want to go over, let me know in the comments. So we'll go over these ones. So the XY, of course, like we'll start with EURUSD, like because it's like the most traded pair. Then USDCHF, which is negatively highly correlated with EURUSD. We'll go over gold because like the famous gold, like everyone trades gold, right? And then we'll go over these ones. Last week, like 2 weeks ago, in the Forex session, many people here asked for US100, US30, so I've added them too. So let's do it. Let me know in the comments. Let me check the comments one more time before I get started. Okay, let's do it. And as usual, cheers. So we can clearly see that the DXY is around a resistance area. We've got a support area previously around here. It was acting as a resistance. Price broke it upward. It was also a supply zone, right? So price didn't respect it. The XY is still very strong, very aggressive, pushing higher and higher. But of course, nothing can trade the same direction forever. Right? We can see that we've got an uptrend, following by a downtrend, uptrend, downtrend. So I'm not saying that we will have this downtrend just yet, but at least we will see a correction. Of course, we can't really know if it's from here or price would go a little bit higher before trading lower. That's why we always zoom into lower time frames for extra confirmation. So like a support or a resistance or a supply and demand, whatever rejection you are going for, it's not foolproof, it's not bulletproof, right? So price can still break it upward and trade higher. That's like your main job as a trader, is to combine different tools, combine many confluences, extra confirmation before you make your trading decisions. So we can clearly see that the XY is approaching a very strong resistance area. We can see that it has been respected previously, but anyway, we don't really need to like zoom back or zoom out. We can see that we've got many rejections here already. So that's a very strong area. So that's why we are speculating a bearish movement from here. Unless we have an aggressive break above it, then like the bulls would take full control again, and we'll see like another impulse movement upward. But for now, approaching a very strong resistance. So we are speculating a bearish movement on the XY, or like it might be a correction before we trade higher again, or it might be this deep correction till the previous support and resistance area, which was a supply zone around here. Now, if you zoom into lower time frames to H4, this is our view. We had a consolidation here, price broke upward, traded higher. The bulls are clearly very strong. We had a minor low here. If we zoom in, we can see it from H1 time frame. So we had this big impulse movement and we had this minor low broken downward. Just like previously, we had a minor low broken downward. It doesn't mean that the bears took over from a long-term perspective. It might be just an alert that we might still see a correction. So not every low broken downward is signaling a full reversal. Because if you are in a bullish trend, right, and when the low is broken downward, if you are in a long-term bullish trend, so this would be an impulse, a correction, then an impulse. So this low broken downward might just signal the start of the correction phase, and then we will see the next upward movement. Just like this is like a practical example here. Last low broken downward, trade a little bit lower before it resumes and trade it higher in the overall direction of the trend. So this is it. We are currently trading inside this falling channel. So if price would respect this area and trade lower again, then it would confirm that the bears are now ready for an overextended correction. For now, it's just like a signal that the bears might be taking over soon. Okay, and anyway, I don't trade the DXY itself. It's just for me to get an overall feeling about the overall forex market. Let me check the comments real quick. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Let's continue. So we are now overall bearish. We might still see a bearish movement, a flat one till around this area before we reject it again, which is our trend line from H4. So just like previously, a rejection and impulse. We might see this impulse. For the bears to take over from a medium-term perspective, we still need to see a break below this trend line. Of course, it doesn't have to happen like this. We'll see how it goes, but this is from H4. It's showing us the overall direction, the overall bias that we are still bullish. Of course, you can also zoom out to daily time frame. Like this is the long-term perspective. So price can still trade lower, dive inside this area before making another big impulse movement upward, just like these ones. But let's take it step by step, right? Around the resistance, we are now looking for a bearish reversal. So this is it. Of course, unless we break above this area here, then a trend continuation would be expected. This is why it's very important to keep an eye on the XY, because like now, if you know what you are looking for on EURUSD, it would be the exact opposite. On USDCHF, in this case, we'll be also looking for such setups. Anyway, we'll check them both in a bit. So now, if this one is broken upward and above the 104, then a trend continuation would be expected. So it would be an impulse, a correction, then an impulse movement again. But for now, the bears are still trying to kick in and to hold this area. On EURUSD, as you clearly see, we've got a trend line here. We saw it exact opposite here. So let me make it in orange so you can see it clearly. Here we go. We've got this channel here, which we see the exact opposite on the XY, a falling one, on EURUSD, a rising one. So this is it. On weekly time frame, also approaching a very strong support area. As you can see here, also a demand, many rejections from it previously. And we can see that this is the overall movement. This is the flow of this pair. An impulse, a big one, a correction, a big one, an impulse. So of course, if the price would respect this channel, for now we are speculating this. Of course, this would be a years ahead speculation, but of course we are not predicting it now, because for it to reach this far, it will have to break this this resistance again and again and again. So we take it step by step. We don't predict big movements like this. We wait for the market to make the first move and then we react accordingly. So yes, we'll be looking for buys now around a support, and then our next rejection would be, or resistance in this case, around here. So for the bulls to take over and be able to trade this high, we'll need to see a break above it. Okay, because the price can still trade higher from here, reject this area, and keep on trading lower. But long story short, from weekly time frame around a support, we are looking for buy setups, knowing that price can still dive inside the support, just like we saw on the XY. We can still trade a little bit higher before reversing. We can set it a little bit lower to around this area before reversing higher, because like I think this is not a laser line that the price should respect to the pip. It's just for overlay direction. So just like a support and resistance, it's an entire zone and not a laser line. So for example, this one, you should treat it like this, as an entire like support area. It's a non-horizontal one. But to keep my chart clean, I always draw it as a level, but I treat it as an entire area. So looking for buy setups, as mentioned previously, from daily time frame, you can see that it's also lining up with this trend line in orange, which I personally consider an oversold area. Okay, it's not a support or resistance, it's just to show us the overall flow of the market. So now we are reversing, just like we saw on the XY, the opposite like direction. We might still see one more dive inside it before we trade higher, or we might reject the previous low and trade higher. But we are looking for buy setups around this area. From H4, this is the trend line that we saw. And like if you remember previously, right? Like 2 weeks ago, we had also USD on our watch list, and we were waiting for the bulls to take over here by breaking above this last high, which didn't happen. Okay, so that's very important to always wait for the bulls to kick in before you look for buy setups. So don't try to like predict the exact bottom and the exact top. Okay, so wait for it to react. So wait for it to make the first move, confirm to you that they are now taking over, and then you react accordingly. On the retest, you'll be looking for setups and so on. So this is it from H4, retesting the support. So we are looking for buy stops, knowing that we can sit back a little bit lower to form a double bottom, or even like a bit of a lower low, right, before we trade higher. But the lower we get, the better the setup would be. It would be overextended, it would be oversold, and so on. So we are definitely looking for buy setups around this area. And as price approaches the upper bound, or the upper orange trend line, of course, again, it's an entire zone for the overall direction. So it's just to show us where we might see the rejection, because we've got an impulse, a correction, an impulse. So it might just like give us an idea about where we might have the correction. And like you can also use Fibonacci, right? So you can go like this, and like, yes, it's like the golden ratio 0.618. Okay, so like it depends on you where you would like to like gather info, or where the correction movement might end. Because for example, if you are in a bearish trend, right, you're expecting low lows and lower highs, right? Let me give you an example here. So if you are bearish, you are expecting this, right? But however, like, you can't really know where the correction might end. It can trade higher till around the last high, or even like make a big wick before trading higher. It might be a very small correction, for example, like this, before trading lower, or it might retest the half of the previous one. So like the half would be 50% retest. A fast one would be like the 0.3, and this one overextended would be the 0.618. So it depends on you. If you like to use Fibonacci, it's the exact same logic. And of course, you have to check previously if it's lining up with a support, a resistance, a previous high, a trend line. In my particular case, I am a big fan of trend lines. But like, of course, like me, like, you know that many traders hate trend lines, because maybe they don't, like they don't need it. They use Fibonacci, they use any other tools, or like they don't really know how to use it. Okay, so it's not a laser line. So like if it's broken upward, right? So like it's not a signal to buy. It's just an overall direction that we are now overall bearish, and it's an entire zone. So as price retested, it's like the overall flow that now we are in a correction. Usually the price, when it corrects, like when price corrects, it will make like this. So we are speculating this movement. Anyway, let's focus on the analysis. So we're looking for buy setups, right? If you zoom into lower time frames, we can see the exact same shape we saw on the DXY. So now approaching this minor demand area, where we'll be looking for buy setups here, right? If you get any kind of reversal, like a small double bottom, right? For example, like this, a break upward, like this, a consolidation and a break upward, the exact same thing around here, and vice versa in this case below the previous low. It depends on how much you would like to zoom in, like I personally don't zoom in below M30, but like we can't really like see much from M30 if you zoom in, right? So this would be it. Previous low broken downward, previous high broken upward again and again. So we are looking for a similar shape of a consolidation and then a break above it to confirm that the buyers are taking over it. It would be a trend following setup, even though it's a flat one, but like at least like we've got a confirmation that the buyers are strong enough to break above these highs. All right, so breaking above it, now we are in a retest, so we'll be looking for buy stop because price can still trade lower and lower to test the previous low, as I showed you previously, in a bearish trend, or even make a little bit like a lower low here before reversing. Okay, so from higher time frames, we get the overall direction, if you are around a rejection area and so on, and then we zoom into lower time frames to look for extra confirmation and setups. So this is basically it, and we might still, as mentioned, dive inside this area before trading higher or even break it downward. I'll check the comments real quick. Okay, fantastic, many comments already. It's always good to watch your videos. Amazing, Kilua, hope you're doing good. Jafkhtai, right? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Hope you're doing good. Okay, the excitable man, good morning. Hope you're doing great. Can you please analyze USD from monthly, please? Of course, I'll check it out now. Okay, so like I don't like know what you mean by fake. Please like try to explain what the fake breakout, fake what. Okay, you trade in 5 or 15 minutes time frame. I personally don't zoom in below M30, right? But if you'd like, you can apply the same logic on lower time frames. Okay, and you perhaps swing trade. Yes, exactly. Like I don't scalp or day trade. I usually like just enter my trade, enter like a couple of trades per week. Okay, so and I trade M30 time frame, but like I don't like close it like within minutes because like it doesn't really matter which time frame you trade, as long as like it depends on how many or like how much time you are holding it. Okay, so like I trade the M30 and H1, but like as you notice from my style, if you have been watching my previous videos, that like I enter on the last swing, low break downward, and so on. So it's like it will take a couple of days or even like 1 or 2 weeks like to reach my stop loss or take profit. Okay, I'm a swing trader as well. Fantastic, Roman. Amazing. So let's continue now. Since we've done EURUSD and DXY, let's go for USDCHF, which is like almost like the same view of the XY. If you zoom a little bit, and we can see that the overall flow is upward, right? We are trading inside this channel. So impulse, a correction, another impulse movement upward. So now we are speculating a correction. Of course, price can still trade higher from here. That's why we don't sell blindly. We always zoom into lower time frames, get extra confirmation. So you've got the entire flow of my analysis. Okay, so impulse, correction. Now we have this impulse. We are speculating a correction. Like it might not go as low as before, but at least this is our next support area that price might reject. So we would have like some room from here to here. And we also got a supply zone around this area, as we clearly as you clearly see it. So we've got an aggressive movement downward. So we've got one here, and we've got one around this area. So this entire area is the intersection of a supply, a previous resistance, which the price is trying to break now, and we've got this trend line here, which is like showing us that the price is already overbought. If it will keep trading, if it will keep trading inside this channel, so this is like the area that we might see a rejection from. So if you zoom in, oops, yes, before that, I'll check EURUSD from monthly time frame because like someone asked about it. I'm sorry about that, I forgot. So this is it on monthly time frame. Like I can't really add much. This is the same view we saw from weekly. This is a very strong support area, as we clearly see. So now EURUSD has been trading inside this, like if you want a range. Okay, it previously was trading inside this like kind of range. Of course, we got low lows and so on, but we had this support here. That's why this one is a very strong support and resistance. Previously acted as support, price broken downward, and now acting as a resistance. The exact same opposite for the lower bound, for the lower area. Here we go. So this is it, a support here multiple times, but like we already saw it from weekly, right? So I can't really add much, and on the left we don't really have like more to add. Okay, of course, if this one is broken downward, our next support and resistance would be here, but like I haven't drawn it yet before, because like I didn't expect that to have this break yet. Okay, so around like 0.95, it would be our next like major support area. Of course, it's an entire zone, so we might still see like some rejections from here. Okay, so let's continue with our USDCHF. We were checking out the weekly time frame. Now, if we zoom into daily time frame again, we can see that we've got a rejection here yesterday during FOMC, because we had an aggressive movement downward on the XY. Now this candle like is trying to engulf this previous area. So if this candle closes this bullish, this strong, then it might be an indication that now this area is broken and we might see a trend continuation. So in this particular case, for the sellers in this case to take over, we need to see a break below these lows here. Okay, so just bearish candle and impulse, a bearish candle and impulse. So let's see if you might get the same exact scenario, and in this case we'll get an overextended impulse movement. If this happens, our next rejection zone would be around this area, around 1, which is indeed a very strong round number, and you can see how many rejections we had from it previously. Of course, it's also an entire zone, but like I haven't drawn it because like price was here very far from it. So you can go for this area or like a little bit higher to cover these wicks, which is also what a supply zone, a very strong one, aggressive movement downward. So let's keep it clean for now. So if this happens, if price kept trading higher, this is our next major resistance from weekly time frame. For now, and as mentioned previously, for the sellers to take over, we'll need to see the price breaking below these lows, which I showed you from weekly. You can see it better from H4 time frame. If you zoom in a little bit, you can see it even better. So if this happens, then the sellers will take over by breaking below the previous low, below this previous resistance like price is trying to break. And like from M30 we can see it even better. We had this trend line, but we didn't have the break below this zone yet. Trend line only show us the overall bias, overall direction, but for the entry we always go for the previous high and previous low to confirm that the sellers are now ready to break the structure, to break or like for a potential reversal. So that's basically it on USDCHF, waiting for a break below this area, below like 0.97. In this case, you can enter a sell, or if you are day trading, then on the retest of it, you can zoom into lower time frames, M5 and 15 or whatever time frame you trade, and then you can get this extra confirmation to enter a sell with a large risk to reward ratio. It depends on your style, but to confirm that the bears are finally taking over, we need to see this break below this area. Meanwhile, we are bullish, and if we break above this area as mentioned for weekly, we can see a movement higher to our next resistance area. Okay, let's check out gold. Before that, let me check the comments. How you find your strategy when you start? Okay, I'm sorry, Jaya, I couldn't really understand your question. I don't want to answer a question randomly. So let me know exactly what do you mean? How do you find your strategy? Okay, fantastic, man. I'm very happy to see you here. I'm happy that you are happy with the content. Okay. Meanwhile, while Jaya explains to me what he means with a question, let me continue with the next one, which is gold. If you remember, also we had a gold on our watch list last, like 2 weeks ago, right? So on weekly time frame, we know that price rejected this area, and we were looking for sell setups, if you remember here, and our next support area would be around this lower bound, right? because it is the intersection of this demand, a support and resistance like 180, like 1850 and 1870. It's a support and resistance, many rejections from it, resistance here, sorry, support here, resistance here, and so on. So we were looking for buy setups. Previously, the bears took over here by breaking below the previous low, traded lower, and as price approaches this area, this support area, as mentioned 2 weeks ago, we'll be looking for buy setups. We can see from weekly time frame that if this candle closes this I don't know how to say it, like this, if you want, like it would be a good reversal candlestick. I only keep an eye on candlestick patterns on weekly and daily. Okay, so like I don't really care about the candlesticks on H4 and lower, because like the candlesticks, like to me, like it has to be with a big volume and so on, and like the biggest volume are obviously the higher time frame, the bigger the volume would be. So this is it. And so now we've got this area here, right, which was broken previously. So we might still see a rejection from it. It might be a minor one or it might be a big one, but for the bulls to take over here and to confirm that they are ready to trade higher, we need to see a break above this area. Okay, so if you want, I also highlight it like this, right? So it is a clear previous low broken downwards. So now we had a rejection from the support and this demand. We traded higher. Now we will be stuck inside this like small range. Of course, if the bears manage to break below it, then like further bearish movement would be expected. So it would be like an impulse, a correction, and impulse breaking below the previous like support. In this case, we'll be expecting a correction and then an impulse again. So we would have in this case a bearish trend like this. Okay, so this is it. But let's take it step by step. For now, we rejected the support, traded higher, but for like the buyers to invalidate this possible scenario of a bearish trend, we need to see a break above this area and so on. Now, if you go to H4 time frame, I can't really add much. This is the last high, which by breaking above it, would also break above the zone that we saw from daily time frame by breaking like this. On lower time frames, as you can clearly see from H1, I showed it to you. I showed it, yes, before. So like we had a small consolidation here in the shape of a 1 to 3 pattern, and with head and shoulders, whatever like confluence or like reversal pattern you are currently trading. So we had a break above it. We can see it better from M30 time frame, and price broke above the high. I made the zone a little bit higher to cover this rejection here. This is the zone that we saw from daily time frame. This is it. Okay, so we are now clearly bullish, and we might reject this area, which as you can see is the previous high, which we saw clearly from H4. So for now, we can look for sell setups around this area. We can look, right? So if we have a minor, a low broken downward and so on, or if we break higher, then the second scenario would be expected, which we saw from daily time frame, a break above it, and then we can see a trend continuation of this trend instead of this trend. Okay, so that's it. Let me check the comments. Okay, Jaya, okay, Kilowa, which indicators do you use mostly? I don't really like indicators. I like, because like you can gather all the info from the price action itself, just by monitoring the previous highs and lows. So like I don't recommend as a start like to focus on indicators. Okay, so let me check the next one. Okay, Jaya, how do you learn Forex? Okay, so you can start by learning from YouTube videos, from books. And there are many good books that you can read, and you can download them for free, or you can buy them. It depends on you. It depends on the book. But first of all, try to like gather as many info as possible. Try to like read many books. Try to watch many courses, no matter if it's paid or free. But like at the end of the day, you'll have like to follow what makes sense, what makes sense to you. Like for example, like if like you like to hold your trades long term, right? If you would like to like close your trade during the day, you do not like to hold your trades overnight. Okay, you got many questions, so let me focus on one by one. Okay, so learn as much as you can, and like of course like learn the different styles. So like don't focus on one style only at the start. Like start macro, like whatever you like you have like in front of you, whatever you see, a video, watch it, a book, read it, right? And of course, like whenever you read or watch a video, open the chart, try to backtest it to see if you can see it, and so on. And like later on, pick the ones that like suits you best, that you find like yourself most comfortable with. And like once you find one tool which are comfortable with, like build your trading plan around it. Okay, Deepak, what's the result of the previous giveaway? Like I didn't announce it today because like one of the members told me that he's writing his comments, but like for some reason it's not appearing. So like I assume that many members like got the same issue. So hopefully we'll do it next time, because like as mentioned, like maybe many members will like have been writing comments, but like it's not showing. So hopefully we'll do it next week. Keshab, check BTC please now. Like unfortunately, like this one is dedicated for Forex, but like of course, if you have time at the end of the session, I will not put you down. Okay, Shah Ahmad, hello Ahmad, hope you're doing good. Can you comment a few books that you that got you started? Okay, of course. Okay, so like search for like Mark Douglas. Everything for Mark Douglas is amazing. If you want to get started, okay, search for this one. If you can find anything for free, any books for free online, it would be great. Okay, so like this author, like he's amazing. He has many good books. Okay, let me continue with the questions real quick before we jump into the next one. What's the name of the indicator on your chart? As you can see here, okay, it's called RHTL. It helps me like identify the objective swings, objective highs and lows, and I use these like dots to draw my support and resistance, trend lines, and so on. Rocky, I know the trend lines you draw are from the weekly, daily, and H4 support demand. I just don't fully understand why you draw two lines. What are you looking for these levels? Okay, I didn't really like get what two lines you are asking for. Okay, so like let me know in the comments if you mean like these two, for example, like this is a resistance and this is like these two are the support. This is your question. Let me know if it's correct. Thanks for this live. Hello, Sia. Hope you're doing good. Gold has charting patterns such as inverse hand shoulders, as well as kinda ascending wedge pattern as well. Gold is currently testing a monthly demand area. Think will react from it. Okay, fantastic. So about monthly time frame only. Okay, we'll check it out in a bit. You are more than welcome, Ahmad. What does Rich Bomb indicator does? Okay, I'll show you in a bit. Okay. Okay, great. So like this yes is for this comment, which is like why I have it as a zone, because as I mentioned many times, support and resistance are not laser lines. Okay, they are areas on our chart. Okay, so let me give you an example. Oops, this one got a lot bigger. So this is it. So if you have a support, right, and price can still go down, and if you have like a break below it, right, so like many traders will consider that it's now broken, and on the retest they will start to look for sell setups. However, this is not a laser level, it's an entire zone. So like for trader A it might be broken, but for trader B, for example, who drew it this way, it's not broken yet. Okay, so like when I want a support to be broken, I want an aggressive break below it. So for all possible traders who drew it differently, right, like this, like no matter how, when aggressive break below it like happens, then it would be confirmed for all possible traders that this support is finally broken. And then on the retest of it, of course, this entire area, so price might retest the lower bound of it, the upper bound a little bit higher, right? So like that's why we don't sell blindly around the support or resistance and so on. We look for setups around this area. Okay, so like this is basically it, why I draw it as a zone. So you have multiple ways to do it. You can draw it like this. If you can go to this tool to rectangle, you can draw it like this, right? But like I like to keep my chart as clean as possible. So like I draw it as like two levels for the upper bound like this, for example, and for the lower um, bound like this. Okay. Oops. I don't know what. Okay, this is it. Um, okay, many questions also. Monthly resistance became gold. Monthly resistance becomes support. Exactly. Yes, you asked me to check gold monthly time frame, right? So let me see it. Here we go. This is it, right? So now we can see that we've got wicks here rejecting the 2K, which is obviously a very strong round number. And if you check the all-time high, for now it's around 2,775, let 2,075. So this is basically it. And yes, for to see a long-term bullish movement on gold, we need to see a weekly, or like in this case a monthly daily candle close above this area. Okay. Meanwhile, we are stuck inside this like consolidation, and we can still trade inside it for a long time until we see a break, just like what happened here. If you remember, and we can clearly see it, right? We'll be stuck inside the consolidation, making like random higher lows, equal highs, and so on. Right inside this area, formed finally a giant head and shoulders pattern, which you saw on my weekly. Yes, this is it. Formed a giant head and shoulders pattern, then broke above the neckline, and like the bullish movement started. And here we go. Right, so like we might see, of course, like for the bears to take over in this particular case, we need to see a break below this area, which exact opposite which happened previously on the head and shoulders. So we've got a double top on here, sorry. So we've got a double top here, and neckline would be around this area. So if broken downward, then we might see, like, of course, like this is just an idea, we might see like a long-term bearish trend. For now, we are stuck here. This is our lower bound. We've got many supply and resistance because like this is our lower bound, but price keeps on rejecting this area here. Okay, so for now this is a support area. If broken downward, then this would be the next support, and so on. Okay, we can see it very clearly, many rejections from this area. But for now, this is a support previously, resistance, now resistance, broken upward, now support. Okay. From a long-term perspective, we need to see this break from month time frame, a break above these highs here. Okay. Okay, I'll check the comments real quick before I continue with my setups. How do you trade near all-time high areas? Fantastic question. It depends on the all-time high, right? So like for example, let me give you an example here. Okay, so if like the chart is like this and we've got an all-time high here, right? So now if this all-time high, okay, like okay, this is the first case. The second case is if the price is like this and breaking above it, and here we go. Okay, so give me a minute to try to give you a better example. So we were trading like this, and then we traded like this, and here we go, right? So like these are two different examples. Sorry. So in this case, we've got an all-time high here, and it's the first time that the price is retesting this all-time high. Okay, so like it's just like a supply zone, right? So it's a supply zone or a resistance area. It's just a rejection area that we might see a rejection from. So I simply, just like I react to a supply or a resistance, I zoom into lower time frames, wait for extra confirmation, and before we can sell, because the all-time high, just like a resistance, can also be broken upward. Okay, this is it, but we want the all-time high to be holding for a long period of time. That's why I give you this example. So this is an all-time high that has been holding, and like price respected it like previously. However, as we can see here, like this was the all-time high broken upward. Now this is the all-time high, and as we can see, we only have a small swing. So even though it's the current all-time high, it's not a strong one. It's not acting as a rejection. Okay, so price can easily, in this case, trade higher and like forming a new all-time high and then break it upward and so on, until we see this, right? So an all-time high that price rejected very well. In this case, anyway, it would act as a supply zone, right? So in this case, this all-time high would be stronger than these ones, and like this one is also a strong one. Okay, so let me check real quick more comments. Many questions today. I'm truly enjoying it. Current a monthly support area on gold, specifically on the monthly chart only. Okay, I couldn't understand this one. I'm sorry if I like sometimes I don't fully understand the question, but I like to be very clear about how I answer it. Like if I answered your question while I was going over the chart, let me know. Okay, Rocky, it was very helpful. I've never seen the lower bound being drawn. Fantastic. You are cute. I don't know how to reply to this one, but like thanks anyway. We may get many fake breakouts in the all-time high, and how to confirm the breakouts. As I showed you previously, it depends on the all-time high itself first, if it's like a strong one, it has been holding for a while or not. Okay, that's first. Second, we don't sell blind, just like a supply, just like a resistance, and so on. Okay, waiting for the giveaway. Hopefully next time the Deepak. Okay, you trade Nasr 100 as well. Like I personally don't, but like I have it on my watch list. So like we will go over it if you would like. Okay. So let's continue our analysis. I'll hide the comments, take a little sip, and continue. So we went over gold, done. Let's go over AUDJPY. So on AUDJPY, we know that we are currently trading inside this channel. We are overall bullish. These channels or trend lines are for overall direction, right? It's an entire zone, like just like this one. Like this one, we can draw it like this, right? We can draw it in multiple ways. So this entire area is a support area. So as price retested, this is an entire area we'll be looking for buy setups. Unless it's broken fully downward, then would have a shift in momentum. Okay, the trend lines from daily, weekly, and like higher time frame are for overall direction to show us the overall view, just like you draw a Fibonacci retracement from here to here, and this is the your retracement that you are looking for, no matter if you look for 0.3, 5, or 6. So this is basically it. We are overall bullish, and this channel like is giving us an idea that we might see a rejection from here. This is a potential resistance and overbought area because we've got like the upper brown trend line. If you zoom a little bit out, we can see that we've got many rejections from this area. It's also a supply zone, right? We can see an aggressive movement downward from it, even resulting with a gap. Okay, so like price is currently sitting around. We might still trade a little bit higher inside this area before we trade lower. That's why we always wait for extra confirmation. We previously broke above the 90, which was a resistance, now turned a support. So we might still also reject this area and reject this area and so on. Okay, so like from weekly and daily, I identify where we are and which what I call floor. So we are currently here. This is our floor. This is our ceiling. Okay, so this is basically it. On daily time frame, we can see it even better. Okay. So from daily, price is forming like a big head and shoulders pattern, ahead, left, and the right. So we might break below this support. In this case, we would also break the head and shoulders neckline, and a bearish movement would be expected because we've got a break of a pattern from a higher time frame. Meanwhile, we can still trade a little bit higher, dive inside this area before trading lower. We've got a supply zone here, so we might still fill it before trading lower. So as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames because it's the intersection of this resistance, the upper brown trend line, this supply zone, and so on. Okay. And as price approaches this area, we can look for bust stops because we have a support, the previous low, and so on. Unless broken downward, then a movement lower would be expected. But for now, let's focus on this floor here. Approaching a resistance, we are looking for sell setups, right? So this is basically it. If you zoom in, lower and lower. Okay, so like just like previously, we'll be waiting for the price to like approach the resistance area. The more it goes higher, the better, right? So the more it goes higher and activate a sell here, it would be better than activating a sell around this area. But like it's still good, but the higher like the more overbought it would be, and like the higher the probability setup would be. Okay, so the closer to a supply or a resistance, the better. So for now, we are in a correction phase. So if this was our impulse breaking below these lows, we're currently in a correction waiting for the sellers to take over again. For the next impulse movement downward, we can see it better if you want from H1. Okay, and if you would like also, you can zoom into H4. So that's basically it. Broke below the previous low. Now retesting this previous low. Now we are speculating this. Anyway, we can see the channel from H4. So it depends on how you'd like to approach it. Like in my opinion, or like as per my trading plan, as price approaches this area, it will be like many confluences here, including the supply. And now we've got also the upper trend line here, which is acting also as an overbought from a lower time frame, right? So just like we saw that we've got this overbought one from weekly, we've got a very similar one from H4, which is here. If this happens and price trades higher, then I'll zoom into lower time frames like M30 and look for a sell setup here. Okay, like a double top, head and shoulders, or like whatever reversal pattern you are looking for. From a medium term perspective, we are speculating another impulse movement downward, but for it to be confirmed, we need to see like this movement like this and then a break below it. Okay, so this is basically it. This is what I'm looking for from H4. If we trade higher like this, we'll be looking for sells for a sell setup on a not lower time frame. Okay, sure. We will go over US100 hopefully after the Forex ones. Okay, I'm. Let me. Sorry about that. Let me continue. So on EURUSDCHF, I guess we also had this one like 2 weeks ago in our watch list. So on EURUSDCHF, we are trading inside this giant channel, like making big impulse movements, a correction, a big impulse, and we are currently in this correction after rejecting the lower bound or this lower area and the lower trend line in brown. So we might still see this movement here. However, as mentioned before on USD, if you remember, like we can't really speculate this like big movement from a higher time frame. Before we reach this high, we need to break the support and resistance along the way, right? So now we are approaching this area, which is still a resistance because we didn't have a break above it yet. So like now, if this candle results in a big bullish candle breaking above this area, then the price would take out these highs and it would be confirmed that this resistance now is broken upward. Okay, we can see it better from daily time frame. So what was a support now turned into also a supply, turned into a resistance, right? And we are currently around this area, so we are still looking here for sell setups. We also have this trend line, so we might still see a dive lower, unless, as mentioned, from weekly we see this break, then this resistance would be broken and it would be acting as a support again. In this case, what we would have an impulse, a correction, and an impulse. In this case, the momentum would be shifted like this, and here we go. We would have a higher high, and we would be now trading inside this channel. Let me make it in red, which is to show us the overall direction. In this case, we would have this if this happens, right? In this case, on the retest of it, we'll be looking for buy setups. Why? Because it is the overall direction, the lower bound, and this resistance is broken, now acting as a support, and we'll be looking for buys. Moreover, if we trade like in an aggressive manner now higher like this, then this would be an interesting area to look for sell setups, as it's the intersection of this supply, which is also a resistance if we zoom out, and this upper bound, which is the upper red trend line. Okay, so like this is my trading plan for now, which is, long story short, if you want, looking for sell setups now. Looking, unless we have a break, we'll be looking for sell here, and then we'll be looking for buy here. Let me read this one for now, because like it doesn't confirm that the bulls took over yet. If you zoom into H4 time frame, okay, this one was from daily. Let me delete it. Okay, this was the one that we saw from daily, and like for now, this is the possible trend line. And let me delete this one to keep it clean. Okay, so sitting around this resistance area, looking, we might still see this, like this like candle from daily isn't closed yet. Might still see a little bit higher movement before we trade lower. That's why we're looking for sell setups. If you zoom into to M30, we can see that we previously like broke below the previous low, traded lower, above the previous high, traded higher. So now we're following the same logic. If we trade a little bit lower and break below the previous low, then we can sell. In this case, price would reject this resistance area, which we saw from daily and weekly. Meanwhile, we can still trade higher and higher and higher, break above this one from weekly, and then we'll follow the trading plan that I showed you from daily and weekly time frame. Okay. Okay. Ronwin George asked, where are you from? I'm all the way from South Africa. I truly love South Africa. I haven't been there. I haven't been there before, but I know many people from there. It's truly an amazing one. Okay, I'm Kirawa. I guess you can do a poll on the Signals channel whether the subscribers want to watch the Indian stocks analysis. So if you get good response, you can start with it. Sure, Kirawa. I will do just that. Hopefully tomorrow. And okay, let me check the comments. Okay. Have to go Nasdaq. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's do it. USDCHF. Okay, so like look at how clean this one is, just like a flat. Here we go. We can see it better from monthly time frame. Look at how like clean this one is. We've got like a big range, has been trading inside it for a long period of time. Then we had this movement, and then we drove back inside this range. Now we're approaching the upper bound again. So like look at how price respected this support, which has been respected previously many times. Now it's approaching this resistance. That's why we are speculating this bearish movement. And now we can see that from a long-term, from a long-term perspective, we've got this impulse, a correction, and we are currently in this impulse movement. However, we can still see a reversal from here, from this resistance. So it would be like impulse correction, a smaller one, and correction and before we see the next impulse movement upward, or we might still see this. We can't really know. We wait for the market to make the first move, but for now we can see that the buyers are trying hard to kick in. Okay, so the next resistance or rejection that the buyers need to break for them to take full control in this case is this area here. Okay, we can't really add much if we look back. So that's it. In case price breaks this zone upward, we would have this area here, which is a supply zone, a very, very strong one indeed. So around 0.85. But let's take it step by step, right? So around the resistance area, we'll be looking for sell setups. So this is basically it. We've got many rejections from here and many rejections here. We can see it even better from monthly, as mentioned, because we've got many wicks. Okay, so we're looking for sell setups, especially as price approaches the upper bound, which is this area. Of course, we can also draw one here. So this is an entire area where we'll be looking for sell setups until eventually this is broken upward from monthly and so on. So this is basically it. This was our first resistance broken upward. So now this is our next resistance. Okay, like this is how you update your charts. Because like you only draw your supply resistance once. Because like you can because like a swing from monthly or weekly or daily, like it takes like time. So you don't have to update your higher time frames levels and rejection zones like that often. But of course, like you need to like update them frequently on lower time frames. Depends how lower you would like to zoom in. Okay, so from H4 time frame, we are trading inside this bullish channel. Let me extend it this far. Okay, so this is basically it. We can still trade higher from here immediately to test this area, but we are now around this resistance area which we saw from daily. So if we have this movement lower, we can expect a bearish movement till the lower bound support and lower trend line in orange. So this is basically it. Okay, so we are trading higher. This is our last like low that we would like to see a break below for the bears to confirm that they are finally taking over. Meanwhile, we would be bullish if we break above this resistance. Then on the 3 test, we'll be looking for buy setups. Okay, so this is basically it. Okay, we still have many pairs, but like I can see that many requested US100, so let's do it now. And since like we are going for an index, let's also do US30. Let me make it here, and then we'll continue with these ones if we have time. Okay. And yes, US100. Here we go. Like if you remember, if you were here like 2 weeks ago, we did an analysis for this one as per the request of the members. So this is it. We know that from weekly time frame we have a potential rejection here, right? So this one is holding the overall like movement. If you would like, the bears took over here from a medium term perspective, and from a long term perspective we still need to see a break below this area. In this case, like more bearish movements would be expected. But for now, as long as price doesn't break below this area, we will be still looking for buy stops, knowing that price can still dive inside a little bit before trading higher. If we go to daily time frame, right now we can draw this trend line, for example. Okay, but you know what? I'll keep it. If we zoom into H4, if you remember, like 2 weeks ago, we were here. We drew this inverse head and shoulders that was forming, and we're waiting for the bulls to take over after a break above it, which clearly didn't happen. As we clearly see, price kept moving lower and lower. We can see it better from H1. All right. So if you go to M30 time frame, and like if you remember, I mentioned that we also had this trend line that for the bears like we were around here, I guess around here, and for the bulls to take over we need to see a break above the head and shoulders neckline. If not, for the bears to remain in control and to keep on trading lower, I mentioned that we need to see a break below this low here, which happened, and price traded lower. Okay, so like here we go. So for now, let's delete the previous analysis and focus on the current price action. So for now, we can clearly see that we've got a consolidation here, right? Just like the one we saw previously. Here we go. Let me make an offset or copy paste. That's it. So for now, we are stuck inside this consolidation, and for the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above. We need to see a break above this area. Then it would be a support, and here we go. Like we might also have like an inverse head and shoulders pattern or any bullish reversal pattern. We can also have like a trend line here. It would be like a channel and so on. So like anyway, this is a consolidation that for the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above this area. Meanwhile, we can still dive lower as mentioned from weekly and like trade like this. In this case, we'll be looking for buy setups here. Of course, from a long-term perspective, for the bears to take over, as mentioned, we need to see this break here. But like this like area is a very strong one. So for now, we are looking for buy stops. This will be our confirmation that the buyers are taking over. Okay, so this is it. And from H4, we can even now draw this overall, like for overall movement, this trend line. Here we go. And we can even make an offset for it. Let me make it in blue. Okay, so let me make my chart cleaner. That this is it. Okay, so like it's broken here, so like I'll not draw it for now. So this is like showing the overall movement, impulse correction, right? So now price rejected the upper bound and we are trading lower, unless, right, we have this break here, which would also be a break above the range, above the trend line, above the channel. Okay, so like this is a very important area that the buyers need to break to be able to trade higher. Okay, on US30, okay, the exact same analysis, like almost, that we saw on US100. This is a very important area that the sellers or the bears need to break below to be able to trade lower. And as you can see, we've got like a big head and shoulders pattern. So the neckline is around this area. If we break it lower, then we will trade lower. The projection would be like as usual, very simple. What is it? Price range, yes. So here we go. Then we would like we can expect a projection till around this area, which is also like the round number 30K and so on. Okay, but for now, we're still around this support or like a rejection area. We are looking for buy setups. Okay, so now we can draw this channel. So we previously had this channel for overall movement, right? We had an offset for it like this, showing the overall movement. Now the momentum is like almost like getting shifted, but we still need a break below this area, which we saw from weekly. So now we are trading inside like this movement like this. So if we break below it from weekly, then it would be confirmed a lower low. Then on the retest of it, we can look for setups till around this area, which would be our next rejection zone. From lower time frames, if we zoom in, we can see that we've got a minor support and resistance here. Let me see if we have any drawings from last week. No, we don't have. So this is basically it. Also an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming just like the one we saw on US100. So this is our left, this is our head, and we might see the right shoulder here. For the bulls to take over, just like US100, we need to see a break above this area. So we might have it now. We might trade lower before breaking it. So we might trade from here. We might go lower. Okay, but this is the last major high that for now the buyers need to break to take over, unless, as mentioned many times, like now already, unless we see a weekly candle close below this area, then you know the rest of the story from daily time frame. We'll be looking for a sell. Okay. Okay. Why that area specifically on US100? I showed you. Let me show you again real quick. Okay, here we go. Because like we clearly see that we've got a big impulse from this area, right? So it's like it's not a support and resistance. It's just like a clear or a major high. Okay, so previously had this last major high, right? Because we had an aggressive movement upward, and then price broke it down. Sorry, low in this case. Sorry, low. Okay, so price broke it downward, now acting, and the price retested it, traded lower. Now our next major low is this one and this one, which is like still almost the same. That's why I have my levels here and here. If we check left, it was acting as a resistance previously, like it's not a typical one, but it is just like to show us a possible rejection. From daily, we can see it also better. So we've got a swing here, which we saw like wicks here from weekly time frame. Okay. So this is basically it, and like you can see it visually that this area here is holding this overall movement upward, right? Especially after this one uh, got rejected here. Okay, so if broken downward, this like entire area would be broken, and so on. In this case, and trade lower, and then on the retest, we could be expecting a bearish movement, and this would be the next rejection, which would be around like 11k. Okay, and we've also got a very strong round number here around 10k, but like let's take it step by step, okay, because like we are still around this area here. Okay, let's see if the bulls can take over after breaking above this high. And yes, for now we might still see the head and shoulders I showed you before we break above it. Okay, Ronwin, we are more than welcome. So let's move forward. Like we'll do also AUD and ZD, and that would be it. Um, let me know in the comments if you have any questions or a specific like pair. Okay, on monthly time frame, you can see that also, just like we saw on CAD CHF, that we are currently trading inside a big range, right? Unless, of course, broken upward, then we would be expecting a bullish movement till these highs. But for now, we are trading inside this range. So price is rejected the upper bound multiple times, and like lately rejected this area. That's why I have it here, and previously rejected the lower bound, which is a support and resistance, and so on. Okay, so for now, price is trading higher. This is a potential rejection here. If broken upward, this would be the next potential rejection. Okay, so price approaching the upper bound will be looking for sells. Okay, so approaching the upper bound will be looking for a sell. Okay, this is the overall, like if you want like feeling about the market from a long-term perspective. Anyway, we can see it from weekly. Okay, so this is it. Multiple rejections from this area, as I showed you from weekly. Unless broken upward, then this would be the next resistance area. Let me delete these ones. Here we go. So from weekly time frame, price is trying to break above it. This candle isn't like closed yet. It might still result in a rejection. Okay, it might still like close above it and then reject again, or it might like close like this as a big wick. So a bullish candle, and then like in the last couple of days we had a wick. So like it's still forming. If it closes bullish like this, then this would be broken. We can look for buy on the retest, and this would be our next resistance. We'll be looking for a sell. So this is it from H1. Okay, so we can zoom as much as you want. So, but from H1, let's stick to this one as it's like it's a cleaner view if you want. So So this is basically it for the bears to take over here, because around a resistance area we need to see like this, for example, and then a break below it. So this would be for now the last low, and we might have a head and shoulders, a double top, any bearish reversal pattern, but we also need to see a break below this trend line here. Okay, so in this case the bears would prove to us that they are strong enough to reject this resistance area, which we saw from daily and weekly, that the bulls are now trying to break above it. Okay, so if we have this bearish movement, we'll get a wick here. The bears would break below it, below the trend line from which we saw on H1, and then we can enter a sell. Meanwhile, if this one keeps on trading higher, closing like this, for example, clearly above this resistance area, then it would become a support. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm plotting points here. Okay, so AUDSD, I'll do that. Okay, AUDSD from monthly time frame perspective down to lower time frame. Okay, sure. Okay, so this is it on AUDUSD. AUDUSD approaching this support area, as we can see, around like 0.7, 0.71, and if broken downward, then a next rejection would be around the lower area. Right, we can see it better from weekly time frame. So this is it, was acting as support multiple times here as well, broken downward, resistance again. Right, so it has been respected previously multiple times. So price is now retesting it from the upper side, so it's now acting as a support. We are looking for buy setups. Unless we will break lower, then this would be the next rejection around 0.68. For now, let's take it step by step, and we can see for me that we are currently inside like a range, this area here. So rejection, bullish. That while we're looking for buy setups now. Okay, on daily time frame, like we can see it even better. I can't really add much, but we can see the support and resistance areas better. On H4 time frame, this is a trend line that lately price ejected downward, right? So traded lower. Now as it dives back inside the support, we'll be looking for buy setups, as mentioned from uh, sorry, as mentioned from daily and weekly. Unless we see a break below this area, then it would become a resistance and so on. But for now, this is our potential resistance, and a non-horizontal one, because we are bearish and we could draw this trend line. So this is a potential rejection area that the price might respect after the correction, which like in this case happened. And if price rates higher, this is our next resistance area, which is also a supply zone. We can even see it better from daily. So long story short, on AUDUSD, we'll be looking for buy setups. We previously, here we go. So previously rejected this resistance, traded lower, now rejected this support, traded higher. Now on the retest of it, you can also, as mentioned, look for any bullish reversal setup, and you can buy. However, keep in mind that we have a trend line from H4 that will make it appear on lower time frames, and this is it. Okay, so like keep in mind that the price might reach, so like wherever you buy around this area, keep in mind that price might reject this trend line. Okay, so looking for buys here, like your TP around this area here, because price might reject. Of course, we might still break it upward, right? But chances are that price might reject it because we are bearish from H4. Okay, so this is basically it. Excitable, you're more than welcome. I'm happy that you are happy with these sessions. I'll see you next week, hopefully. Monthly inverse head and shoulders, I'm swinging this pair. Okay, let me check. I didn't like check it out well for monthly. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. But it's a big one, right? So so we've got a head. This is what you mean, right? So I had a left and the right might be here. Like of course, like keep in mind that we might still see a price dropping lower, right? So like because like the head and shoulders might be like we might have an equal low just like this one, or we might have like an extended like one. Okay, but anyway, this is a strong support that we might still see the right shoulder from here, or we might see an overextended one till around this area before we trade higher. Okay, I'll wait for 1 more minute. If no new questions pop up, that would be it. I'm happy that you are enjoying the sessions. I'm truly enjoying it too. Uh, cheers. Only keep your eyes on this pair. Okay, sure, of course. Of course. And if you'd like next week, if you were live here, let me know and we'll check it out also. A quick update for it. Re-education session, thank you so much. You're more than welcome. I'm very happy that you are enjoying it. Okay, so that would be it. Let me know if you guys have any questions later on in the comment section of this video, because like now you are writing in a live chat. So like next time, if you would like, oops, like I forgot to add this banner, which like let me add it now. But however, like we finished, but let me add it now anyway, which is this one here. Okay, so which like states on like upper bound the stream and all its content are for entertainment educational purposes only, and like at the bottom of it if you are seeing this here, okay, like this is my website htl.com, and you save $100 if you use the coupon trading nuts. So this is it, because like I have to add this one at the upper bound, which is very important, like because for this video. Okay, you're more than welcome, Jaya. I'm very happy to see you here. uh Love from India. Fantastic, Jay. Love from training nuts. And okay, amazing. That would be it, and I'll see you hopefully next session. Bye bye, everyone.